This series is pretty laid back. It's just called Q&A from Quarantine. So basically it's whatever you wear in quarantine. And this is kind of what I wear, just very...
Oh, I put my pajamas on. I put
as to, you know, how businesses these days, because big companies in our industry seem to be carrying on rather well. Smaller, I would say SMEs, depending on who they are, maybe having some cash flow issues. But although we're in a pandemic, your business seems uniquely suited to solving problems, and there's definitely a lot of problems right now. So maybe business is good.
It's been a wild ride, I have to say. It's been really interesting. One of the things that happened is we worked with the UK government to develop a new ventilator from scratch. So
wow.
in 6 weeks, 6.5 weeks, we went from nothing to a system be ready for regulatory testing, which is unbelievably fast. It was an incredible experience to see the teams working that fast. It was literally 24/7. We have people working around the clock every day.
How many people was this, would you say?
I think it was a core team of about 120 people, and additional people pulled in as needed, probably another 100 people.
And anyone from the ophthalmology team, or was there any crossover in that regard?
Not necessarily, because there is no direct ophthalmology, but the skill sets that we have are very broad in that sense. That we have very engineers with a lot of experience in software, mechanics, electronics, that is cross-disciplinary, that we deploy.
I see. So some of those people might have worked on ophthalmic products in the past.
Exactly. Yeah. And the things that happen, for example, I did chip in to for a couple of weeks to be the standing project manager for an ophthalmic program, because the project manager had to be working on the other one, which is not something that we normally do. I'm not running projects these days.
Yeah.
But it was my way to help the team.
Right. Good on you. Yeah.
For the people who had the strong expertise to be full-time there. So it was very rewarding for everyone.
I'm really happy to hear this, Luis, because, you know, we've been searching around ophthalmology high and low for how the field has contributed to the crisis. And, you know, some of the big companies are obviously working on vaccines like J&J. Smaller companies like Quidel have developed testing kits, but you know, it's still kind of like finding a diamond in the rough. So you guys are diamonds.
Thank you. That's very nice to hear. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's been a rough ride. I think that the project is now officially completed. Fortunately, the UK government, I understand, has enough ventilators now.
Good.
And in standby, as far as I understand.
And your sort of contribution to that was part of that process, essentially, to get the ventilators up to the quantity that was needed?
It was a nationwide effort with more than 100 companies involved.
Yeah.
And there were different levels of ventilator produced. Some that were very simple, that were manufactured very quickly. Some that used old models that could be revamped. Many of those, I understand, I don't know the details. I understand that some of those were actually made it to hospitals. Ours was the most sophisticated, built from scratch, which could cope with patients going in and out of consciousness. So you have to have a certain level of smartness to know where the patient is breathing and change the pressure that you put in and out. So it was an I think, and ours is ready for approval if it's needed. Let's put it that way.
When you're viewing ophthalmology moving forward in this era that we're in, you know, as a problem solver, what kinds of problems do you see the industry facing that maybe your firm could help to solve?
In terms of COVID or
No,
generation?
I would say just, well, I think that a lot of changes have occurred to our industry because of COVID. I mean, we hear about things from the way that clinics need to be set up now to help with social distancing, to other factors, tonometry devices, which may be superior than others because they don't create sort of an air puff and therefore spreading more COVID around. Yeah, I'm just curious what kinds of problems would be interesting to solve from your perspective in this day and age.
There are many opportunities, I think, going forward. I think on the one hand, the larger challenges of the ophthalmic industry will continue.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen any long-term changes. The interactions we're having with clients to develop new surgical tools or changes in manufacturing methods and things like that, they seem to be on track. Maybe a little bit slow down, or let's wait and see. But I think that the long term seems to be similar. I think in the short term, there is going to be a need for better telemedicine, perhaps.
Right. We've been hearing this a lot. It's like the new hot topic.
I think in ophthalmology at the moment, you can do very little. Besides, okay, I'll put my eye as close as I can and I'm not going to do here. It's going to look horrible.
Yeah.
Or send a picture of your eye to the doctor, and maybe the doctor tells you put your eyelid down and take a picture of that. And I think it's fairly limited what you can do. I can use my crystal ball and think of two areas that may be interesting. One is chronic management of chronic disease. When you have patients that have glaucoma or AMD or one of these chronic degenerative disease, there are also patients that with things like COVID or superbugs, you don't want them in hospital because they're old, they're more fragile. You want to avoid exposing them. So what is it that you can do to help monitor their eye health from home? So what devices can you make that would help? I saw a few years back, actually, from City University, there was this fascinating study that they found out that by tracking eye movements while people were watching soap operas, they could tell if the person had glaucoma.
Get out! Soap operas? Wow.
It was very specific to soap operas and glaucoma. So it was targeted to the population.
I think people in Mexico would know something about that with all the telenovelas there, yeah?
Exactly. But I found it fascinating that good data and good statistics could help you to monitor if the pattern of eye movement was changing enough to say, oh, hold on, you're developing glaucoma. That kind of thing. In extreme cases, can you have a thing on your mobile phone that you put it against your eye, it takes a picture of the back of your eye? I mean, that's the holy grail of ophthalmic care. But I think that there are lots of things in between just taking a selfie and send it to your doctor to having something that can monitor your eye health in clever ways. Using good data. Maybe you can have a few sensors around your house that even see how you move, because at the end of the day, how you reach for objects is going to change, perhaps.
Right.
The vision is impaired. There are exciting areas there.
Absolutely.
And the other one is what you were saying, is how we modify the doctor's office. What instrumentation needs to change. I mean, a direct ophthalmoscopy, I mean, you're touching nose with the doctor when they get.
I see, right.
That's not going to be acceptable anymore.
Yeah. So even when we have the vaccines and whatnot, social norms will just change because of this, essentially.
think this is a wake-up call, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is the first of other pandemics that could occur, and this, well, it's a horrible thing, but in the biggest great scheme of things, it affects a small part of the population.
Yeah.
So if you have a vaccine or you have a treatment, it may become acceptable. But if something comes that is actually low worse, that is more violent, more virulent, and can actually make a lot more damage across the population quickly, if we don't take this warning call,
Right.
we're not being very clever, I think. So